Hi everyone, welcome to the 25th episode of Happy Hour with CarnaticON. This is Archana, and today I have here with me Prashanth. Hi Prashanth.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Prashanth, what is your last name?
So, I mean, if you're not checking my legal documents, I would say my last name is Prashanth Techno. That has been like my sort of artist's name over different social media platforms and all those kind of things. So, actually, my name is Prashanth Murli, which is Murli is my dad's name, but yeah, nobody calls me that. So, yeah.
Why Techno, Prashanth?
So, I think when I was in 8th or 9th grade or something like that, techno was just a favorite beat of mine on the keyboard. So, on my keyboard. So, obviously, the email address prashant@yahoo.com was not available. So, I randomly had to type Prashant Techno, and that name got like, got shifted to all the other social media profiles. So, I never bothered to check my last name because the whatever application I'm using will just say welcome Prashant. So then later
I
people
know.
started calling me Prashant Techno, and I thought there was a ring to it, and I just stayed with it. That's it.
It just stuck. I know sometimes it just happens, right? Like I remember creating an email address like when I was in 9th or 10th standard, rockstar.arju, because I was into rock music then, and
Yeah,
I thought I was
yeah,
like cool and everything. And that just stuck. Like throughout my, college and everything, people just made fun of me, rockstar
yeah,
Arju,
yeah.
rockstar Arju. It just stays and
Ridiculous.
it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. So,
But
so tell me a little bit about yourself, Prashant. What's your background? Who your gurus and what do you do?
yeah, so I'm from Madurai, so I did my schooling in Madurai, and about like around 8th or 9th grade, I was quite interested in performing music. So I went and started classes under my teacher, Mr. Ravi. The classes lasted for about 6 to 7 months, and after that, he had to relocate. But later, he joined my school as a violin faculty and was in charge of light music band in schools and all that. So I was quite curious to get on stage and play the keyboard and all those kind of things. So he asked me if I would be interested to play the keyboard for school band. So a bunch of us like got together and started a school light music band of sorts, and we started performing. So formal education kind of took a backseat after 6 to 7 months of attending classes. So since then, it's been more like trying to play concerts together with friends and trying to decipher what happens in the song, what are the chord progressions, how does this song go, all those kind of things. So that's how I started getting into music right from school, and it continued when I went to college at PhD Tech Coimbatore. So I did this course called Masters in Software Engineering, which has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. So yeah,
As is the case
so
for most of us, right? Like we
yeah,
study
yeah,
something,
yeah,
we do something else.
yeah, something like that. So I made a lot of friends in college, and we had a college band called Tech Music, where we used to represent like a college for culturals competitions. And again, the whole process of being in a band and trying to decipher songs and sometimes come up with our own songs, participating in reality show contests and inter-college cultural fests and all those kind of things happen. And all this while, since my 11th or 12th grade, I was quite interested in music production apart from performance. Trying to make my own music using my keyboards and computers, and trying to record from singer friends of mine, and like with a basic microphone, all those kind of things. So when I finished college, I basically wanted to get into music somehow, and so I decided to come to Chennai around 2010. And at that time, obviously my folks stay in Madurai, so I had to figure out a job before before I shifted to Chennai. So I was working in a real estate startup for a year, which absolutely has nothing to do with what I studied and what I'm doing right now. So that happened for a
It's a
year, and
transition phase.
yeah, exactly. So that happened for about a year, and during that time, I met a lot of interesting artists from Chennai. I got to interact with them, and around 2011, I quit my job, and since then, it's been juggling between composing for movies, advertisements or performances, production, independent releases, so these kind of things. So this is how it has started. It started.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story. So, what are some of your notable compositions?
So like what happened was after I quit my job, along with Harish Venkat, another friend of mine, we started this project called Madley Blues. So as Madley Blues, we composed together for films, advertisements, and all those kind of things. So as Madley Blues, we have done music for movies like Sutakkadai, Neringiva Muttamidade, and one song in this recent release called Darala Prabhu. So yeah, you could check out songs from those albums. And also we have been the last 5 years we've been doing majorly music for advertisements. And so we have been associated with composing music for sports teams, channels, and stuff like we've been working on the score and music for campaigns for Chennai Super Kings and Prince Jewelry, and the Big Boss Tamil theme music, all those kind of things. So as Madly Blues, we've been doing that. So yeah, that's been the journey as far as Madly Blues is concerned. And apart from that, I work as a producer, arranger, and performer in different combination with independent artists, classical musicians. And recently, I started a project along with another friend of mine called Keerthana. So this one is called Kee Techno, where we try to explore Indian classical music using analog synthesizers or any form of electronic instruments, those kind of things. So this is what I've been up to as of now.
That sounds really cool. Talk a little more about this project. I'm definitely curious.
Yeah, so Keerthana has been a playback singer in the industry and also like a classical performer. So we've been friends and we've been like performing for concerts for the last 2 3 years and recording and things like that. So we performed this concert in 2019 in Bangalore uh, as part of this beautiful intimate concert experience sort of thing called the Living Room Kacheri, organized by Guru Priya. So we just want to give it a shot. At that point in time, I had like a different kind of influences after a bit of travel and all that. I wanted to explore like making music with synthesizers, which are majorly used in electronic music. I wanted to like combine those kind of sensibilities and aesthetic with Indian classical music, and create some sort of ambient, intimate kind of experience. So we were trying out a few ideas and we got excited by that concert, like, and how excited we were to write and perform in that concert. So then we took some time and worked on some material, and we have released like 5 tracks on YouTube, and a sixth track is on its way. And we are looking to also publish it as an album. So the idea was to start performing in 2020, and that sounds like an oxymoron right now. So yeah, so we are like
Nothing ever started in
so
2020 other than the pandemic.
yeah, of course, things like that. So that's how it's been. So we are like looking forward to like write more music, perform, and you could check us out on YouTube. We are called Kee Techno.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to,
Thanks.
add your link in the bio for our audience. And
Sure, definitely.
and I should tell you, this is super exciting even for me because, the whole goal of CarnaticON is to discover musicians, every day, right? Every week we talk to an artist and, we get to hear about their stories. And the goal is to inspire the younger generations to take an interest in this art form, right? And this is super, super, super cool. Tell us a little bit about your upcoming projects, Prashant. Do you have anything that you're working with? I know you did talk, about your projects with Keerthana. Is there anything else that you're working on at the moment that you want to highlight?
Yeah, we are looking, as I said, looking to release the album. And as part of Madly Blues, we have a film coming out. It's called Chinnada Or Padam. I mean, we are in this process of getting it mixed and mastered, and in the last stages of production. So Harish, myself, and Navneet is an integral part of our team as well. So we are working on finishing the album and making it available, and probably the film should see the light of the day quite soon, sometime this year. It got a bit delayed because of the pandemic and all those kind of things. So that's something that's right there in the cards, and of course, a few advertising projects are there in the pipeline. And I collaborated with another songwriter friend of mine called Asha, and there is a new single that's going to be releasing probably in a month or two types. So these are the things that are, I think I see coming out immediately kind of thing. But of course, we are jamming and working on more music with different artists and hoping to put out more stuff.
That's awesome. So tell us, Prashant. So we're all technologists, right? So we know what a day in our lives look like. What does a day in the life of an artist or a musician look like?
Yeah, so basically, like each day has a very. I mean, this is different for different artists. I can answer for myself. So initially, it used to be like a lot of late night work kind of thing where there is this thought that nobody disturbs you during the night time and you could create and all that. But I don't think it's really good for the health. So, like off late, I have been at least like trying to sleep on time and those kind of things. Trying to, but yeah. So otherwise, like especially during since 2020, it's been a bit different. Like everything is happening remote, and like every day is like has been like spending time at home trying to watch something on YouTube or sometimes Netflix and all those kind of things. And immediately there's actually no proper schedule in terms of work we do. But like whenever there is a deadline, there is a pop up and you start working, that kind of thing. So that's how it has been so far. There's to be precise, I don't think there's a routine.
No, I was just going to say, right, like even for us, because we work with teams across the globe, there are different time zones we work with. There is no such a thing as schedule. Even, our work hours are quite erratic that way, right? So it's probably very similar with you also.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So Prashant, what are some of the instruments you play?
So my primary instrument is the keyboard, and apart from that, I have been like exploring analog synthesizers, which are like keyboards, but just that the kind of sound and the kind of the way they have been like designed, it's quite different from a regular keyboard. So I have been like exploring using different kinds of synthesizers, like a bass synth or a mono synthesizer or like a poly synthesizer. Those kind of things have been happening, especially over the last couple of years. Apart from that, I play a wind key instrument called the pianica. And also like actually exactly on the same day last year, I started putting out videos on Instagram and got into a bit of minor video editing kind of things. And just like, I've been uploading videos on my YouTube channel as well as Instagram, more like a hobby kind of thing. So I got an opportunity to, plug these instruments and record them, those kind of things. And I play a little bit of bass guitar because I used to play bass sometimes whenever the bassist was not available for the college band, things like that. So little bit of guitars I play and keyboards, I must say.
Oh, that is awesome. Can you show us what the instrument looks like, the pianica?
Oh yeah, I have it with me. It's a Honor Fire Melodica. That's what it's called. This is a commonly used instrument in films and.
I've seen, yeah. I've seen these. I think in some of the Coke Studio videos and stuff. That is so cool. Yeah. So can you play it for us, please?
Sure. Yeah, something like that.
Nice, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, so you are. I mean, what else did you say you played other than the pianica? You also
I play the keyboard. Yeah, I play the keyboard. and but most of my work is into studio production, arranging, and those kind of things. So yeah, I'm trying to become a live performer. You know,
I know, but
and
the pandemic was not a good time, right, for the
yeah,
transition in your
yeah,
career.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so there must be a lot of demand now, right, for your kind of work, because a lot of artists are now moving to studio productions, and they're moving more towards producing music videos and stuff. So do you see like a spike in the work you do because of the pandemic?
So yes and no, because like for this kind of work, yes, there is a huge demand. But then I've been like doing a lot of work for other composers and artists for the last few years. So I wanted to do my own stuff and my own initiatives would be a better word, kind of thing. So it's been like a constant effort to try to give myself more time to put my music out, kind of thing. So even recently I collaborated with this amazing composer called Vedant Bharadwaj. So we did a instrumental track together, and we got a lot of recordings actually happened a bit remote. We recorded the guitars in Chennai, but I never met the guitarist. He was sitting at home and recording, and we got I got in touch with this amazing violinist from New York. So he recorded from New York and sent it. And then there's another person sitting in here in Chennai who was mixing the track. Even that was done remote, and we mastered it in London. So things like that. So a lot of remote collaborations have seen a huge spike during this time. But yeah, so yes, that way, but no, because I'm trying to do my kind of things during this time. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So so I did have something to, I'm blanking out here, but so who are some of the like noted musicians you worked with, and how do you find these opportunities? I think that is one thing our audience will be interested in, because we have a lot of upcoming artists that are looking for opportunities, right? So what is your way? Like, I mean, for us it's pretty easy. Like if we're looking to switch, we have LinkedIn, and we connect with. There's a lot of networking that happens, right? How does it work within your space? Like, how do you find these opportunities? How do you find musicians to collaborate with?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. So because like I mean, like 7 or 8 years back, it used to be only based on like word of mouth, where you go and perform with somebody or work with someone, and someone tells about your work to somebody else. Those kind of things, and with like YouTube channels and those kind of things, like you already put your work out, and you might get work depending on that. But a lot of film work has been based out on like word of mouth and things like that. But the last few years, I think Instagram has become like the official LinkedIn for all the artists. So like I got in touch with so many artists through Instagram, not just music. Even if I need to get a video done or an illustration done, and so it's been quite amazing because you get a good glimpse of their work as well. Like you have this sort of personal contact with that person, and as well as their work. And then you discuss a lot of ideas, and then you send your links and all. So Instagram and word of mouth is still like in Chennai especially, like it's a very very closely knit community, and everybody, almost every artist knows every artist, kind of thing. So the word goes around quite quick, and you get opportunities. That is one thing. Another thing is, of course, social media, Instagram, all those kind of things.
Oh, that's good. So that's good. Like, in within the VC community, there's something called the pattern matching, right? So if you have, like, if
Okay.
you belong to a certain ethnic community or something like that, then you would always prefer to work with an artist who belongs, has a similar background. So, yeah, so is it similar to that, or how do you find all these international artists, for example? Like, are they also on Instagram? So, and what has been some of the kind of like work ethics in terms of working across different cultures? How has that experience been?
So yeah, that's a good question again. Some of the artists, like you might have like seen somebody would have shared some song of theirs, and for example, even for this track, I worked with this guitarist called Elvis Gabriel. So he had worked with another friend of mine, and I had, or he was putting out videos on Instagram, something. So I had just like been following him on Instagram. So when I worked on this track, I thought he would be the right person to work with, and then I just pinged him. That's one kind of thing where you suddenly find somebody's work interesting, and you stay in touch with them. And when the right opportunity comes, you collaborate. That is something. Another thing is where you you might have heard of some artists' work, and that's how you get in touch with them, saying that I would like to work with you. So people are quite open. Uh, like in terms of like some of them do have a busy schedule, and they might not be able to accommodate time for certain collaborations because they have their own stuff going on. But otherwise it's quite like it's absolutely like uh, quite open in terms of collaboration and all those kind of things. And for this track that I had put out recently called T, I was searching for illustrators on Instagram, and I somehow, I don't know how I ended up on a profile. I found this amazing illustrator from UK called Irina. So I really liked her choice of colors and design. So I just hit her up saying, I would like to work with you. And then like there's another platform called Behance where all illustrators put their portfolio, like how musicians put out their videos on Instagram and those kind of
Yeah.
things. So like even before you type a message to saying do you want that you would like to work with a person, you already have a glimpse of their work. After that it's just about figuring out the logistics kind of thing. And sometimes people aren't available, sometimes people are available, those kind of things are there. But predominantly it's only about figuring the logistics and interest level of working, because the access is already there.
It's very nice. That's very interesting because, like, typically for contract work, right? Like, I mean, I would go on something like a Fiverr or an Upwork. I never thought of Instagram as a way to connect with somebody, and it makes sense because you also get a glimpse of their work, especially like you're saying, if it's like probably music related. You always want to see what kind of work they've put out in the past before you decide who to work with, right? So that is
Definitely. And the one thing which I found a bit weird with Fiverr was like if a friend of mine wanted voiceover recording to be done for an advertisement. I mean, this was not. I just had to refer a person's contact. So I said, this is what this person charges and all that. But through Fiverr, he got somebody who was charging like 5% of it, and as a huge cost cutting. You have no idea about the quality of work sometimes, not all the times. So Fiverr is a quite tricky thing for music, I would say. But there's another website called soundbetter.com where uh, even Spotify has been promoting soundbetter.com for musicians, where like suppose let's say I want to record a harp player. I can't think of any harp player in India who has done any film recording. Maybe, I don't know. So I just go on Soundbetter and say I'm looking for a harp player, and I'll get all the options and their high quality recordings, what gear they use, and what kind of microphones, and where they're based out of, and samples of their works, and kind of people that they worked with. So I have not tried Soundbetter, but I've been like told that that's quite cool. But the thing with Instagram is that you immediately hit a personal connect without any mediator in between. And it's about like, hey, do you like this? Hey, I really like this, what do you think? So there's a lot of personal touch conversation happening even before you say I have a project. So that way I feel Instagram's a bit more personal. And at some level, people want to work with someone like where they really like the other person's work, instead of like going on like a blind searching looking for a harp player. It might be like, oh wow, I really like this harp player, I would like to work with him or her. So that kind of thing where and Instagram is where like you get a better glimpse of artistic expression. But sometimes it happens on a daily basis because everybody's putting out content. So
right, right. I
things
mean,
like that.
that's a very interesting point. So I mean, of course, like at CarnaticON, one of the things we are focusing on is also building a discoverability search engine.
Got it.
Sort of thing where people can connect and people can look at each other's work, and also like we want to build an entire ecosystem where organizers, if they have a show and they want to decide which artist to work with, so they can come to like one place where they can take a look at everybody's portfolio and decide who they want to bring on the show, right?
That's
And
awesome.
things
That's
like
awesome.
that. And I mean, I think that's one of the reasons, of course, I would probably prefer something like this over Instagram is because not a lot of yesteryear artists are on Insta, right? So I mean, of course, what is your take on it? What do you think of, like, say, the older generation of a niche art form like Carnatic music, right? Do you think they've taken to Instagram pretty well, or what's your take on that?
Yeah, no, no. You're right. There are like the amount of people from a senior generation or something like that is quite less on Instagram. But again, there's Facebook and YouTube, where. So, but there are a lot of artists who are not digitally available. Like there are so many senior musicians even who play for the film industry, or even if you take the strings orchestra which plays in Chennai, they don't have any social media pages or anything. So that's where like this whole word of mouth comes into play, and there's a huge bunch of artists who like I've worked with in the past, and like if I call them and like suppose I call a friend of mine who's already a Carnatic singer and say I'm looking for a Ganjira player, and they're like, oh, you should check out this person, he's amazing or she's amazing, something like that. So then we hit that person up and like try to figure out, like you could go out and see what they've already done, and you could randomly search on YouTube, some video of them playing in some kacheri might come up, and you might be able to ask this. I'm talking more from a composer producer perspective. But in terms of getting, if let's say I'm a concert organizer, then already there are so many videos out there on YouTube. So what I meant by Instagram is more like any social media platform where you could have like a synchronous conversation going on before you say, I would like to work with you. Like, you kind of have a vibe going on before you decide to work with a person. That's one thing. And also, like, yeah, word of mouth is quite huge in India. That's how most of the stuff gets done, especially like if a producer is looking for a music director, he or she doesn't go on Instagram and look for talent. So it's more like, oh, they've done this work, let us call them, or some assistant in the team would be telling, I worked with them on this project, oh, probably we should get them on board, things like that. So yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, I think it is a sort of endorsement also, right? If you work with somebody in the past and you know
Correct.
how they are, then you'll probably recommend that person, and even the person that is hiring is more likely to look for someone like this. That makes sense. Okay,
I
so
would say like that personal touch is even more important than social media if you want to work with the local industry here. But if you're trying to but if you want to work with somebody who plays an African instrument which is not even available here, that's where Instagram works like a huge boon. Like you might be able to, and you might be able to fi- find talents that you weren't even looking for. Like somebody had shared this work of an illustrator, some artist's friend would have shared, and he or she would have reposted it, and then I land up on this person's profile and like, oh wow, this work is good, I start following. 3 months later I come up with a project, oh yeah, we should work with this person. So it's more like data accumulation of sorts. I don't know what the right word is, but yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that's awesome. So, I mean, this is, I'm just going to ask you like a slightly tricky question. Okay, so how do you how would you compare their work online versus offline? Do you think a lot of these people, the kind of work that given there's so much technology available right now, it's even an average singer can probably sound really good on Insta or YouTube or any of these social media channels, right? Like versus a live show. With live show, you're still a little restricted because 80% of it is still very much your talent, right? So how would you compare like online versus offline talent?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Since the my world has been mostly online for the last few years, so I look for things that sound good online. I really don't know how it will sound offline. Okay.
Now that you're considering live shows, you should probably give this a thought.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, that's but you get a rough estimation of being if into the industry for a few years, like like, oh, this is how it would translate, and you might actually even be able to figure out that, oh, this person might not be able to might not be the right fit for something offline. Like I think there is some level of judgment being formed uh, looking at the person's work, where you are either inspired to work with them or not. So it's just a one or zero there. Even if it doesn't go through well, maximum you won't end up using the work, but you would still be interested to work with a person. Things like that.
That is, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think we've touched upon a lot of different topics today, Prashanth. Is there anything we can do, right, as technologists? I mean, one of the things we are trying to do, of course, is um, like we can tell you our story. Like we've
Sure, definitely.
always
I would
been
love
like
to hear.
5 days of. I mean, yeah, like for us, I mean, the reason we want to do something for Indian classical music and related genres is because we've lived a dual life. For like so many years now, we've been 5 days with corporate, and then like over the weekends, we pursue music, and it's always been somewhat divided. But now, because of the pandemic, we feel like it's been somewhat of a calling in some sense, because we really want to do something big and something impactful. So that is when we got together. A bunch of us got together and we said, okay, let's try this out, and let's see, let's try to build an ecosystem where we bring on artists that have been doing tremendous work in this space, but unfortunately may or may not have a social presence, like an online presence, right? So that is what we are trying to do. But is there anything, from like a technology standpoint, is there anything you would be interested in getting us to do, right? Like as an artist, I'm sure like there's a few challenges. Like you said, discoverability could be one thing. Education is like another important piece, for us to pass this on to the future generations. Like that, can you think of something else that we can probably use technology for?
Yeah, that's a quite a. I mean, there are so many things.
Ooh, deep.
Since yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like things. There are so many things you could develop for the next few years. See, one thing that people are trying to crack right now is I don't know how this would work, but people having. I mean, the idea of online concerts of people being in different locations. So still I know a few people who've gotten really close to it, but still, like, let's say you are sitting in your house and singing, and I'm going to be playing keyboard from my house. That is going to be a lag. Actually, as we talk, there is a lag, but we don't feel it. But when you perform, like when you're singing, if I try to put talam, it won't be in sync. So, is there a way? I mean, that's how internet has been, I think, configured. I don't know. There is a sense of delay, but you don't feel it, so nobody complains about it. So even when you watch a cricket match, the relay of it is going to be like a few seconds later, but you don't care as long as you're glued to the match kind of thing. Can that delay be fixed? If that is going to get fixed, like you're going to see like really interesting collaborations. Like there might be a rapper in New York and a Mridangam player in Chennai just going live on Instagram with high quality audio and everything and playing together. That is something that's not been fixed, but I don't know how that could be fixed. Also, there's if last 1 year they've not been able to figure a solution. So if that could be fixed, or do we need a different kind of internet technology for at least the artists performing, where they are able to connect without latency, but people who watch it will might get the whole video a bit late, but that's fine as long as the artists are in sync. Imagine like a 20-piece orchestra, each person sitting in their own houses and playing together at the same time. That's I mean, I would buy that software if you're making it kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, it has a lot to do with other environmental and external factors also, like the connection itself and those kind of things, right? And it's I know it's a little difficult across geographies, but I'm sure somebody probably who's watching this video, it's like it's their idea for the next startup. Who knows?
I mean, I know, like, I have a friend of mine called Aditya Srinivasan, who's a phenomenal sound engineer. So he did something around that and got 4 5 people on board and did it. There are a few challenges in doing that as well. So still, it isn't there like an app or like, for example, like I've never heard of the app called Zoom, which became like as big as
Zoom?
WhatsApp. Like I had never heard of Zoom until the
Right,
pandemic
right.
started.
Yeah, until the
Yeah,
pandemic started. Yeah.
under the panel, and suddenly like everybody's on Zoom. It's become like really popular, although this technology has been there everywhere. Skype, Google Meet, Hangout, whatever. Like I don't really know why Zoom became more popular than the other apps. So probably somebody has already done it and it is not yet being it's not yet visible there. I don't know. So things like that maybe. That's one thing. And definitely in the education space, integrating technology, so many things could be done, like master classes or like what if there is a Netflix for music education of sorts? It's already there, but for Carnatic music, if something like that could be created, that would be phenomenal. Like, you have a subscription model where you pay a certain amount every month and you log in, and there are just master classes, and it's like a subscription model. But of course, the the threat of privacy is there, piracy is there. So like,
Piracy, yes.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, but I think all that aside, it's about a few like-minded people who share the same passion coming together and trying it out, right? That's important, and I think that is if we are definitely open if you want to ever think of like a Netflix show or something, right? We've been trying to do a bunch of OTT stuff also, but I think our YouTube is like easy, right? The putting out content on YouTube is pretty straightforward. Netflix has become somewhat of the record label type, where it's very difficult to get your foot in the door.
no, I'm talking about creating a platform like Netflix for Carnatic music education, where there are different video libraries. Like basically, I think a lot of online education companies like Baiju and all have been doing it. Instead of like learning rhymes and all that, it will be like learning different. Like you'll have interviews of Carnatic. Like it'll be a world of Carnatic, and people from different cultures, if they want to learn Carnatic music, and what is the theory of, what is the history of this kind of music, and like it could be like a, I don't know, it might be become like a Discovery Channel also, but like that kind of thing. I don't know.
No, absolutely right. I mean, it has to be like yoga. Like when yoga started out,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
probably for a very niche audience, but now it's so
yeah,
popular, and everybody's
yeah,
doing like different types of yoga. So
yeah,
why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
I think, yeah, yeah, I totally get it. Like I think we're all on the same page on that. And I'm glad our generation is thinking like that, because it's so important for us to think like say 10,
Got it.
15 years ahead to be able to do some good work, right? Otherwise
Yeah, yeah.
otherwise it's just about living in the moment, and then like, and then you're done, right? You don't think of how to pass this on. And yeah, I think, yeah, it'll be good. Prashant, we'll definitely connect with you offline.
Yeah,
I think we
sure.
have some synergies here, so we can do some,
Definitely, definitely.
we can
Looking
work on
forward.
some projects. Awesome.
So when did
So
you guys
sorry, go on.
start Carnaticon? How long has Carnaticon been there?
So we started CarnaticON around the pandemic. I think we went to market around July, August. So that is when we started out. We started connecting teachers with students. So the goal was to kind of onboard as many artists as possible within Indian classical music. So we had like close to 30 to 40 artists that got on board instantly. But now, like you said, through word of mouth, people have been referring other artists, and now it's just growing. It's just organically growing, and it's phenomenal because this is exactly what we had our vision for this was, and I think we're heading in the right direction, right? So of course, there is always going to be like more things we can do. We have just literally just begun, like we're barely 6 months old, but the progress we've made in the 6 months, I think, is definitely very humbling, and it's been an amazing journey so far. Getting to know so many people like you itself, I think, is like it's a huge win for us. So yeah, and we'd love to also like stay in touch with all of you like-minded folks to see what else we can do, right? We're not, yeah. So yeah, we'll have to like think about some amazing projects to work on and things like that. So yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
It's quite amazing.
All right, Prashant. It was wonderful speaking with you. Is there anything else you want to talk about or highlight today in terms of projects, or I know you did mention a lot of projects that you're already working on, so we will put the links in the bio. But if there's anything that you were say hiring for, or if you have like an opportunity, or if you're looking for like musicians to collaborate and stuff, do give us that information, and we'll be happy to pass it on to our network.
Definitely, definitely. I shall do that. Definitely. I had a great time
Awesome.
talking with you. And as you said, if you could create these kind of infrastructures, I think it will definitely help the music scene, irrespective of which location the scene is based out of, and all those kind of things. So it's pretty amazing, and I've always been a huge fan of integrating any kind of technology-based solution with the arts industry. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome. I'm glad it's a great validation for us also, right? So this is good. All right. Thank you so much, Prashanth. Thank you for your time today. And thanks for your
Sure,
patience
definitely.
despite all the glitches, So thanks for holding
That's
on
okay.
and having this conversation.
No problem at all.
For all of you watching, thank you so much for watching today. And we will see you next week with another artist. Thank you, Prashanth.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good luck. Bye. Bye.